In this video, we will go through invasive species. And by invasive, we mean something that is not wanted and is harmful. So, invasive species are also known as alien species. And an alien species is a species that is accidentally or deliberately introduced into a new location. Most alien species are harmless or beneficial in their new environment, and alien species can go by other names, which include an introduced species or an exotic species. So, several different names there for alien species. And then some alien species can actually be invasive. So, invasive species are non-native species that cause harm to the ecosystem into which it has been introduced. Invasive species tend to outcompete native species. They generally have no natural predators in their new ecosystem, or they can reproduce faster than the native species, or both. As a result, the population of invasive species increases rapidly, while the population of native species decreases. So they can their numbers will increase pretty quickly and can overwhelm an ecosystem. So how do invasive species cause problems? Well, they can take over habitat of native species. Depending on the type of organism there, they can invade their bodies. The invasive species can disrupt the balance of ecosystems, and they can compete with native species for food and habitat. And as a result, populations of those native species can decrease. Here are some examples of invasive species. So there's the zebra mussels, which are native to Asia, and they were first detected in the Great Lakes in 1988. And they arrived in ballast waters of ships. And just so we're clear, ballast water is basically water picked up by the ships to stabilize them while at sea, and then they're released at destination. So they'll pick up water in the port where they're about to leave, and then they release that water once they reach their destination. So any organisms that they may pick up in that ballast water could get released or gets released into their final port. And this is the case with zebra mussels. And so they're a problem because they outcompete shrimp-like crustaceans for food. The shrimp-like crustacean is a food source for other animals, and the decline in the shrimp-like crustacean population could lead to declines in other populations. And zebra mussels are notorious for just being able to stick to anything and just grow. So here is an example of a shopping cart pulled out of a lake, and it is covered in zebra mussels. And they grow very close together, and their ends there can be quite sharp, so that it's a bit jagged and not comfortable to walk on. And they can even attach themselves onto boats and be introduced into new areas in that way. Another example is the purple loosestrife. This was introduced from Europe in the 1800s as an ornamental plant. And it invaded the wetlands throughout eastern North America, choking out many native species, and has altered the wetland ecosystem for other species as well because of the loss of those native plants. So what was introduced kind of as a decorative plant, is now invaded wetlands throughout North America. Another example is the Asian longhorn beetle, which arrived accidentally in cargo from Asia in 1996. So this beetle can destroy hardwood trees, including maple trees, and has the potential to destroy 50% of hardwood forests in North America. And there are no natural enemies in Canadian forests, so this particular beetle can just eat away at trees undisturbed. Another example is the snakehead fish. The snakehead fish is particularly aggressive and can grow to 1.5 meters in length. The snakehead fish can survive out of water for days. It has like a set of very primitive lungs, which will allow it to breathe oxygen outside of the water. Can also jump into boats and rip their prey in half or sever a human arm with their powerful jaws. So this particular fish has been dubbed Frankenfish by the U.S. media because it has the head of a snake, or a head that looks like a snake, and the body of a fish. So it looks like, these two things are kind of jammed together to create this monster. This particular fish is well adapted to cold water, and there are no natural predators in North America. So this particular species is rather aggressive. So what can you do about invasive species? So do not release alien plants or animals, including pets and live bait, into the wild. So any animals that you have, you think like, oh yeah, I might just release it, but that animal could do potential damage. So do not bring fruits, vegetables, plants, or animals with you across borders. Before taking a recreational trip, inspect and clean fishing equipment, boats, trailers, recreational vehicles, and other items that may harbor hitchhiking invaders. Do not transport firewood or other wood with bark attached over long distances. These could all bring visitors with you that could get introduced into new ecosystems and cause damage to those ecosystems, even though they were accidentally or unintentionally released. So that is the end of this video for invasive species.